headphones so that I could be more audible. So content of these lights. So hence all the lights and stuff. And again, I wanted to talk about some of the things which I was thinking about, and if it can help someone, then great. And it's just me expressing myself because I tried journaling, I tried reading books, but I think recording myself and the world and the life around me is my thing. Gen Z logo. I'm Gen Z and I just cannot journal things and I don't have the patience to read books. Even if the book is quite interesting, I just don't have that focus to continuously read a book. Uh, I don't know the reason for that. The only books which have interested me were academic books, which I read due to some of the pressure. If there was a pressure around me for that, for me to read that or study that thing, there was never enough self motivation to complete books in general. So even if I like a book, I read it a little bit and then I switch to audiobooks on YouTube. And when I'm running, I listen to them. That's how I have completed some parts of some of the books and some of the important talks that I really like. I get the book and I read parts of it. I like it, or I like the person in general, and I just you know when I'm running. So my running session usually is around 30-40 minutes of running and 10 minutes to go to the place and 10 minutes to return to that place and general walking in between. So 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes, 1 hour mostly, 1 hour of listening to something. Care. Let's not waste a lot of time talking about things which don't matter because I have given a title. The title is Garud, Puran, Buddhism, and Me. Very interesting title, and it is because giving you a context. Someone from my family passed away a few months back, and I went there on 12th day again after the day when the funeral happened, and I went to the 12th day, and there were certain chapters of Garud Puran which were being recited every day, and it was the last part which was being read on that particular day, and I was there and listening to it. And it is one of the practices in Hinduism that this is the particular scripture which is to be read when someone leaves, because it kind of gives you the feeling of grand scheme of things and perspective. And it is said that if you recite it, they are also, their soul departs after 12th day, so their soul is also there and their soul listens to it. And you know if you ask for forgiveness from God, he gives it even if it's the last moment. Quoting Itachi, one of the characters from Naruto, he said that you truly know your reality, or like your whole life is judged upon how you die and what are your actions before death. Uh, Basically, the, the anime is based on a series where there are a lot of fights, and everybody is kind of a warrior or a ninja, so it applies to them. But to normal human beings, I don't know. But so this particular chapter which was being read, it was very interesting, and it was the only chapter that interested me, because obviously I didn't read the entire thing. I did skim through a lot of YouTube audiobooks of Garud Puran, different parts, just to get a gist of what will be in this part, because a part of every Hindu book is a lot of practices, because again in different eras, or you can say different, how to put it, different yug of Hinduism, different yugas of Hinduism, whatever you want to say, different practices, different ways were there to worship God. So there have been a lot of practices and other things. So in 12th chapter, I see a liberal version of Hinduism, which was very surprising, and I heard it like twice that particular chapter again. There are some versions of Garud Puran where that is not the last chapter and it's completely missing, I guess. I don't know. But I found one or two recitations of Garud Puran on YouTube where there was this chapter was similar to this. And why do I say it's liberal? Because it clearly says that if you cannot remove the impurities within your heart. Man ka mail, which is said. Mail is gandagi, dirt. If you cannot remove the dirt from your heart, then it's impossible for you to even think of enlightenment. Or you have to repay every bit of dirt you have in your heart. And what is dirt is very interesting, because they also described, there were two words, asakti and dvesh, in these scriptures. And then I was like shocked, and I was completely, it took me back to a Vipassana meditation retreat which I went 2 years back. And these two were the words which were very interesting and were part of every dialogue there. And I asked a lot of people. So we are not allowed to talk, but you can talk to the the few people out there. So I asked them what is asakti, what is dvesh. I think it was dvesh. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right, because it's been a while. But it's very interesting to understand these two things, because I found them in Hindu scripture and I was surprised, and it was completely same. And the way, I will explain these two terms, but the way Garud Puran was describing this was crazy, because Garud Puran was saying that, I still remember a couple of analogies, that even if you are the most upper caste Brahmin practicing the greatest rituals, and if you don't have, if you still have dvesh and you have asakti, then you will have to repay that debt, basically. It's form of like a karma container, some kind of a thing. I believe that everything in life is like, you can quantify things in some way or the other, that good and bad can be quantified. This is my belief. And the you can quantify it by knowing what are your intentions. If I'm doing bad, knowing that it'll harm the other person, that's bad. But if I do something and my intentions were not wrong, it's not that bad. So again, it's so like, no matter how, you know what no matter what family you come from, if you have these things, you will have to. So basically, completely erasing the concept that different castes will have different outcomes, at least after death. Okay. And there was some analogies, that one more was there, that if you guys think so, um, Hindu funeral have a lot of list of different practices across different parts and different families, across different states. It might be different. It's different for different religions, but at least one thing is common, that we take the ashes to Ganga to for their final. That's the last thing, I think. Um Now, it was written that if a person is supposed to get enlightened, if they just take a dubki in Ganga, or they take dip in Ganga, or their ashes are just, um, how do I say it in a nice way, if your ashes are submerged in Ganga, if you think that you will be enlightened by this, then it is wrong. Because if this was the way life works, then all the kide makode, all the insects, all the frogs, and all the different species of bacteria in the river Ganga would already be enlightened, because their whole life is there. So it's not about, so this is what Garud Puran says, that it's not about you know practices, it's not about Ganga thing. It's always about what you are from your heart, what you are inside, and what are your intentions. And again, focusing on these two terms, which was asakti and dvesh. And now I'll explain what happened in Vipassana retreat. So these two things, they were like, every action can be narrowed down to a place where we can narrow down to a thing called, where I can say that every action is either a action without attachment, which is the noble action, which I think is impossible unless you are at a very crazy stage of spirituality, or it is either dvesh or asakti, every action. Because normal human being, let's talk about a normal human being. Now, I think I should explain these two terms before getting into more detail. So, okay, asakti is like when you when something pleasure when a pleasure comes to you, your body wants that more. Okay. So every action which you do expecting something like a pleasure makes you bound to that thing or object or person or activity, and it is a wrong thing. Okay, what is dvesh? Every action that I do in the fear of it, the thing not giving me pain, is dvesh. Let me just revise these things for you guys. Asakti increases if you are doing actions to seek pleasure. Your asakti for that object, thing, or activity increases, or that person. And if your actions root cause is not getting pain, so either you're getting pleasure or you're not getting pain. If these two are the root causes, you will these two are the worst things you can do to yourself. This is what these two terms mean according to me, and these two terms are similar in Buddhism and also in Garud Puran, last part. And obviously, there might be many instances of Hindu scriptures where these things are rewritten again and again, but today I heard that. So, and also there's a thing where people say that you're fuck people, the kids are blowing crackers there, but there are a lot of people who say that you're not supposed to read this book unless someone dies, because then it will bring bad fortune or something. But I completely understand the people who just want to avoid reasons to get enough knowledge, because Garud Puran is a book written by Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, and he's reciting what happens after death to Garud, who's I don't know, a form of a bird, vulture maybe, not sure. So, bro, God is writing something for you humans, and I don't know, man. If there is anything, if there is a piece of information which is too special, then I think people would like to hide it from people who are too scared of death already. So that was, I guess, a way for them to filter out, at least, because when I used to read Mahabharat, my mom used to say that it brings, fight happens within the family, conflict happens if you read Mahabharat. So I had similar concept even back in 10th standard, that if reading a book, especially a spiritual book, is bringing bad fortune, then I think that is a good way to filter out at least the people who are too attached to, or who don't really care about truth, or words of so-called God. Because if you are doing practices and not understanding what he's saying actually, then what the fuck are you doing, man? Because at least these books, I am not a person who has seen 7,000 years of life and someone writing God's words. So I can never, and I'm an open person, I don't have blind faith, so I can never say that yes, I'm 100% sure that God has written this. But if people claim, at least my ancestors claimed, that these books were written by God, I would like to at least give it a shot and read it, try to understand it. Yeah, so about asakti and dvesh. So these two terms are basically that if there is any action which you are doing, and the action is directed towards not getting pain or getting pleasure, basically not if you're scared of pain, and if you're too attached to pleasure, then, and this is the cause of your action, then you're doomed. Very interesting thing that I don't think that I can even try to do a action without expectation, because expectations are part of my life. And I can't even comprehend the people who do things without expectations, because if there's any flaw that I have, is that if I give too much to someone, I do have expectations. So either I don't give at all, or I give and have expectations. In life, in general. If I just take life too seriously, man, because I know that every word I say is going to. There are two things, okay? There are two things. Firstly, if I'm saying or in my mind I am expecting something, it's already like I'm doomed, because मेरे को आसक्ति द्वेष वाली चीज़ें I'm already inviting them. But if I detach myself from this and can live a life in auto mode, I don't know, man. I just cannot do this. I cannot. My life can never be in auto mode, because I just cannot give a lot to someone and just be like, you do whatever you want to do, man. Because I don't have so much to give. That's the problem. I don't have unlimited time. I have 24 hours in a day, 10 hours I'm sleeping, 14 hours I have. My job takes up the next 8, 9, 10, 12 hours. I have 2 or 3 hours in a day free, and if I'm giving that to you ahead of my fitness, ahead of my future, ahead of my parents, ahead of my cat, I will have expectation that you also at least give me, some part of your day. If I had unlimited time, if I had unlimited emotional balance, or emotional capacity, or if I had unlimited money, I wouldn't have even thought about, because I have a very rich friend. He spends like, anything. uh, he doesn't mind giving away money, but I have limited resources, bro. If you take away money from me, it's gonna affect me, because that's how I am. I have limited resources. So the only way you can actually escape this loop is maybe to, just either have too much, but the too much is never enough. So basically, because we see the rich people and they are always hunt hunt for more and more. The resources of this earth are at least limited, right? They are not infinite. If I want to gift you like every fucking you know gold the piece of gold everywhere in the world, every bit of it, I cannot, because it's not possible. And even if I'm that rich, then someone can ask me to give more than what even earth is capable of. So in general, in life, time is limited. Nobody can doubt and question that. Time is limited. Money, petrol, everything else is also limited on earth. So I don't know, man. Emotional capacity you can build, I think. That's the only thing which you can become infinite in. You can give love to millions of people if you. But then in order to express love, you need time. So everything is limited, man. I don't know how to do it. How to live life the way these guys are doing. I don't know. The best way is that don't give anything. Yeah, monks do that only, right? They are in caves, or they are in like temples, and they are doing their thing, and they don't want anyone else to roam around them. Even if people are roaming around, someone impresses them, they will give them blessings, and then they will again go to places. Like, I have heard of so many stories of great sages in Himalayas, because they get peace, they feel peaceful there, and they get detached now. So basically, this is what I was saying now. If you want to be if you even want to reach a position where you are beyond pleasure and pain, you will have to leave society at some point. You will have to, I don't know how to live in society, have connections, and still then, be beyond pain and pleasure. Bro, that's impossible. I don't know. If someone knows, please let me know. Okay, I'm really trying hard to just understand this mess. And the interesting thing is, in the Vipassana retreat, in the meditation technique, there were ways where you can at least dissolve your past asakti and dvesh, your past accumulation of your reactions to certain instances, right? Because if you are already too attached to a person and they show up, how can you even imagine to you know think of controlling your emotions and not plain and pleasure ke beyond looking. So you have to take care of your past as well. Also, you have to take care of the actions you are doing right now. So basically, you have to take care of two things. First, the the various patterns you have already formed, and the various and the various actions you will take and you are taking right now. So, bro, it's tough. So they say that you keep meditating so that at least your past karma gets solved, and if your past all of these things get solved, and then you can even think about imagining a place where you can take actions without pain and pleasure and expectations. I don't know, man. How is it done? And even if you are doing it, you are getting attached at least to the technique now. Bro, you are getting attached to this theory which is saying not to get attached to anything, object, person, or activity. Meditation is an activity which I will get attached to eventually. That is what happens to a lot of people. They get lost in meditation, that they try to find every piece of bliss only closing their eyes and meditating, bro. So I don't know, man. It's so confusing. Everything is so confusing. The easiest thing which could have happened was that I lived in a society where everybody was like a monk or something, which we read in the books. It was easy, man. It's tough because even if you're being good, you're being good because you want others to treat you nicely in some way. And if you're being bad to a person, it's because you're defending yourself from being hurt by them in some way. So बीटी ही बीटी है भाई, बीटी ही बीटी है. And बाकी क्या है, life updates is that I don't know, yaar. I'm just trying to get hold of my life, and I think I live life trying. It's never gonna happen. बहुत ज़्यादा डाइवर्स अलग अलग टॉपिक्स पे एक्सप्रेशन किया है. एंड I don't know if I will even post this because I have a lot of shit here. जो भी है, it's Diwali. Enjoy. एन्जॉय बोल के मैं एक्सपेक्टेशन बढ़ा रहा हूँ ऑफ यू गाइस टू एन्जॉय दिवाली, और वो एक्सपेक्टेशन मैच नहीं हुई ड्यू टू सम रीज़न. एनीथिंग कैन हैपन. पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया कल सुबह, तो तुम नहीं कर पाओगे एन्जॉय. बीटी में निकल जाएगा दिन, तुम ही को पेन होगा. तो मैं क्या बोलूँ? इन्जॉय नहीं बोलूँ ना. एक्सपेक्टेशन बढ़ेंगी तुम्हारी एन्जॉयमेंट की. तो मे बी सर्वाइव दिवाली.